coach, and I work in New York City at a lifestyle medicine practice at a public hospital where we help patients um, manage their chronic diseases and sometimes reverse them with a whole food plant-based diet and lifestyle medicine modifications. So I'm really excited to be here. And today I'd like to talk to you about Buddha bowls and how we can turn them upside down. But first, why Buddha bowls? Because in my line of work, I have so many people ask me, how do I become plant-based? I want to be plant-based. I believe a whole food plant-based diet is good for my health. It's great for the environment. It's great for the animals, but I don't know how to do it. And I'm here to tell you that it's not hard. You don't have to make it hard. If you're a cook, if you're not a cook, if you cook a little, it's possible, it's delicious, and it's healthy for everybody. So let's get started. The Eat Lancet Commission came out with a report last year saying that if we change our diet, 11 million people will not die a year by 2050, and our planet and Earth and animals will benefit from that. So in that report, they said, when we look at a healthy plate, half of it is fruits and vegetables, and the other half is mainly legumes, beans, lentils, and grains. So let's get started. When we go to a restaurant and we have a Buddha bowl, right? Usually the entire bowl is filled with rice. It has a little vegetable on top and maybe a little tofu, okay? Let's turn that upside down. So we're going to make a Buddha bowl 3 different ways, 3 different types, because we all have different tastes. And remember, you can make your Buddha bowl the way you want to do it with any ingredients that you want. But there is a pattern to follow. Half of your bowl should be fruits and vegetables. A quarter of it can be whole grains or a starchy vegetable. And another quarter should be legumes, nuts, lentils, some type of bean. Okay, our first one you'll probably recognize as a Buddha bowl with an Asian flair. So I have my bowl, and I'm gonna first use my base as a green vegetable. That really gets me to that half of my plate really quickly. And today, for my Asian one, I'm gonna use some cooked kale. I cooked all this stuff before, so we would have enough time. So I'm gonna put some kale in my bowl, like this, okay? Then my bean is going to be delicious edamame. So I'm going to use about a quarter of that. And I buy shelled organic edamame in the freezer section. It's so easy. You can just microwave it. You can just defrost it anyway, depending upon how much time you have. Then I'm going to get some brown rice and put that, about a quarter of that, in my bowl. So the healthy plate is just like this, right? I have edamame is a quarter, rice is a quarter, and then kale is half. But we're going to kick it up a notch. So we're going to add some bok choy, some cooked bok choy, right? Why not put more veggies in that, right? We're gonna add some sesame seeds, kind of sprinkle those in. And because I love color, and we know when we eat different colors and we eat the rainbow, we get all different phytonutrients. So that is our Asian bowl. And we're going to take some teriyaki sauce. So this is only maple syrup, tomato paste, tamari or amino acids, and some ginger. Really super quick and easy. And we're gonna drizzle that on. There we go. That's our first one. Delicious, right? Great. Let's start with another one. So we're gonna start with our green again. This time I'm still gonna use kale because I really like to batch cook things. And I like to use things twice. So again, I'm gonna take my kale, cooked kale. So I have that as half. But this time I'm going to make it with an Italian flair. Here I have delicious polenta. And you can buy this in a tube already made. I just cut it up and browned it on each side so it'd be a little crispy. So I'm going to do a quarter of my bowl with polenta. Remember, polenta is a whole grain. All it is corn. See it? And then I'm going to use cannellini beans. These are white, creamy beans that really take on the flavor of whatever you're making. So this is a healthy plate, quarter beans, quarter whole grain, and vegetables, but let's kick it up, right? We're going to add some delicious roasted peppers. I just sliced these up and put them in the oven for about a half hour, and it was all done. So we have roasted peppers there. I love that color. And then I have some roasted onions, because who doesn't like onions, right? Roasted onions. And this time, so we have beans, polenta, onions, peppers, and kale. Look how pretty that is. I'm going to add spaghetti sauce because polenta is the same thing as pasta. It's used in Italy. I hope all my Italian friends out there can back me up on this. Is used in place of pasta. I probably would sprinkle some fresh parsley if I had some. See how delicious that is? A nice Italian flair. And we have one more. So we're going to have a little Mexican flair for this one. So I'm going to use fresh greens this time, raw arugula. And I hope you don't mind it. I'm going to use my hands and I clean them. They're really clean, I promise. So half my bowl is arugula. Now I'm going to add some sweet potatoes. And I used Japanese sweet potatoes because they're so sweet and creamy. So a quarter sweet potatoes, half arugula, and then for my beans, I'm going to add black beans. So this is a healthy plate, a quarter black beans, a quarter of a starchy vegetable or a grain, and then half veggies, but we're going to kick it up. So we're going to add some delicious roasted corn. And I bought this frozen and just defrosted it. So we have some frozen corn here, right? I'm going to add some delicious tomatoes, cherry tomatoes to this. And this is already pre-made or frozen in my refrigerator, and I just add it in. And then I'm going to add a little homemade queso. It's cashews, roasted tomatoes, nutritional yeast, and some pepper. We're just going to drizzle that right on. I can smell it now. It smells so good. So remember, you can use whatever ingredients you want. You can change the flavor by changing the dressing, changing the bean, whichever. Oh, we can also add some avocado if we really want to. And look at that delicious bowl. So here are 3 different ways, right? We did the healthy plate that will help our planet stay healthy, it will help our people stay healthy, and it will help our animals stay free. See? Delicious.
Wow. Krisann, those are beautiful, and I haven't eaten my lunch. So
they smell really good right now. I'm feeling hungry too.
Yeah, I would love to just take that right off of the screen.
There you go.
Thank you. Well, I love the way that you went ahead and divided the bowl into half with greens, because at the beginning, people, I think, don't realize how much or how many greens they can get.
And just by really having that base, all my toppings can be whatever I really choose, and I can really change the flavor of my bowl by my toppings. Yes. But I already have my bases covered. I'm nutritionally balanced. My calorie density is very low because I have a high content of vegetables here. Mm-hmm. And vegetables are very low in calories. But as you can see with all the color, the nutritional density is really through the roof. Mm-hmm. So it's delicious and it's nutritious and it's really low on the calorie scale too. So it's really great for everybody.
Thank you. Well, we'll open it up. Everybody, you're welcome to come back on and ask a question. And then when we're through with questions, we'll just talk about collaboration. And
great.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, or tell us what you do with a Buddha bowl?
First of all, great food demo. Great job. That was a wonderful presentation. So Krisann, what for someone who maybe hasn't started preparing Buddha bowls or incorporating like the whole foods into their diet, I think this is a great strategy. What are some ways that people can prepare those ingredients ahead of time? You might have already covered that early, but well, you just demonstrated 3 ways that we can prepare Buddha bowls.
Well, what I think is a really easy way when we start is to pick a few things that you cook on a Sunday. A little batch cooking really helps. A pot of brown rice, you can bake some potatoes, have some canned beans ready, or if you prefer to make your own, that's great. And those are really your bases. And then you just mix and match and add whatever you have on hand. Maybe get some seasonal produce, or frozen vegetables are fantastic. They're already cut, they're all ready to go, and you can really mix and match and use as much as you want.
Yeah, that's great. Speaking of frozen foods, a lot of my friends, well, anyway, I have friends that are in their 70s and 80s. And from my church, I just shared this video. So this is about collaboration. So I shared it to our church main page. And one of the things I've wanted to make, I made a sample video. I want to show them how to, because some can't turn things as well. Some can't. My mother lives in a place where there's not a stove. So we have been, and she's been doing fine, but my other friends don't want to cook. And it seems to me like you could have frozen spinach, frozen, you
yes.
Put a lot of frozen things together.
Yes.
Fresh foods in there too. For instance, if somebody's taking someone food, it doesn't have to be cooked.
So if we took this one, for instance, instead of, this is the Mexican inspired bowl. If I didn't want to do a sweet potato, I could have inserted frozen rice here. We can get prepared frozen rice in the freezer. We can get cooked beans in a can already. We can get frozen corn. This is fresh arugula. These are fresh cherry tomatoes. You can do it any way you want. It's a great idea to keep that 50% veggies and a quarter, 25 and 25%. And the choices are just like endless. And it's really good to think about this. Just look at the colors, right? Sometimes we get overwhelmed and we think, I don't know how to make this. Just look on the shelf, look at the beans and say, I'm going to get 2 different color beans in a can, right? Then I'm going to go to the freezer and I'm going to think, let me get 2 different types of grains that are frozen. Quinoa's frozen, you can get rice frozen. Then I'm going to go to the vegetables and look at all the different frozen vegetables, right? And we're going to buy them without any sauce on them. And let me pick 2 of them with different colors. And just with those 3 choices that you made in those 3 different categories, you probably have about 9 different combinations and still have really nutritious food that'll taste great.
Right, right. It is so nice to be reminded. I remember I was going through a period, I've been a vegan for about 9 years, of doing salads, and it was so easy. And then I went through a period of fast food vegan, and oops. And so I needed a reminder about how to do salads. Why was it so easy? And this is a great reminder, or a great introduction to how to do it. And then it kind of blossoms, like one could put beets. Once you get going,
Yes.
you go to the grocery store and think, oh, what about this or what about that?
Yes, and the toppings are very easy. I just used a prepared spaghetti sauce here, right? On the Asian one, we can use like a low sodium soy sauce or amino acids on that. That would be easy. And on the Mexican one, I usually use salsa.
Yeah.
So there goes my flavor, right? My flavor just jumps up. I just had to open something, right? And it just makes everything more lively. And those sauces are very good for us. So they're all checking all the boxes all at once.
Krisann, Rob is asking about that white sauce from the Mexican bowl that you just asked. Showed us.
So, yes.
Can you tell us about that one?
I knew Rob was going to ask me. Let me get that recipe right here. It's so super easy, and I can post this on my Instagram if we want to. It's just cashews, a can of Rotel. So if you're not from the US, Rotel is usually chopped roasted tomatoes with some chilies in it. So it has a little spice to it. Nutritional yeast, which gives it that cheesy flavor, garlic powder and onion powder. That's it. You blend it up in a blender and you're done. You can use this queso on like, I like to use it with refried beans and sweet potato fries. And the sweet potato fries are almost like nachos, right? So good and so easy. Leave it in your refrigerator for a whole week. Or you can put them in individual containers and freeze some of them. So it's super easy.
This is great. I have a question, and this is for anybody because we're collaborating, but
You're welcome, Rob.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I was really into balsamic vinegars.
Yes.
And then I started adding a little mustard to the balsamic vinegar. And it seems to me like there are other little things you can add. And as long as is that a healthy way to go? And
it's a great way to go. In fact, Jane Esselstyn has a dressing called 3-2-1, which is balsamic vinegar, maple syrup, and mustard. And usually we have some of those ingredients on hand and we just mix it up and put it over. Another great dressing is hummus. We can take hummus and thin it with some water so it becomes a little more pourable, and put that over as a dressing. That's really easy. Tahini, peanut butter, any of the nut butters thinned out is delicious. Think about a little thinned out peanut butter on the Asian dish, right? That would give it a really nice pop in this Asian dish too. So we can be extremely creative with those dressings, and balsamic vinegar is really a great go-to in a whole food plant-based diet. It's a really good base to use. Don't forget lemon juice, lime juice, citrus, any type of citrus you have to squeeze on top, and think about all those vitamins in those fruits. Those are fantastic too. Tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, some fresh herbs or dried herbs would be great too. So it's really, really endless.
Also, Krisann, Dr. Erickson is asking if you have a website that you can recommend for additional sauces.
I really do like the Engine 2 sauces. They're really good. I would look under Jane Esselstyn or her YouTube. Jane Esselstyn and Ann Esselstyn have really great sauces on there. And if you think about it, sauces are a great way to start you on your plant-based journey, because we've all had spaghetti sauce. We've all had buffalo wing sauce. We can use those sauces on our bowls and really still have that flavor that we really enjoy. Another bowl I really like to do is a base of a baked potato. And I usually put all these delicious things on top. And you can make a nice cheesy sauce with that nutritional yeast that I was talking about that I used in the queso. I just don't use that spicy tomato in it. And that would be really delicious too.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We're going to be closing up in 3 minutes. So if there's any final questions or comments.
Another thing I really like to do is put fruit on mine, especially if it's the spring or summer and fruit is really in season. It puts a little like treat on your salad. It kind of brightens it up. It may hit that sweet spot if you have a sweet spot, and it really enhances the flavor. So don't be afraid to add anything you like, any of your favorites to help you really change your taste buds to if you're just learning how to go plant-based.
Thank you.
Thank you.